In this video, I'm talking about the buff Voruna got to her 4th ability. But is this buff that great? Let's find out. What's good, folks? It's Frame here with a new Warframe video, bringing you a new Voruna build that uses her 4th ability to actually kill. If you want more Voruna builds, go check out my Voruna build and guide, where I showcase some very fun and devastating builds. So, DE released an update buffing her 4th ability, but apparently this is the first set of releases, as in they're working on more things to add. Sounds interesting. Now imagine if they did this much work for Styanax and Ureli. One can only imagine. Ulfrun's Descent hits now have a 20% crit chance and a 1.5 times critical multiplier, and the crit damage buff from Shroud of Dinar, her 1st ability, also applies to her 4th. Sounds good! Every kill increases the crit chance by 5% and the crit damage by 0.5 times. The damage it deals is slash damage and a 100% chance to proc bleed. As you know, successful kills with her 4th ability will increase the outgoing damage of the next attack by 100 times. The kills to increase the damage have to be direct hits and not kills from DOTs. Your direct hits by her 4th will knock down the target and stagger enemies within an AoE, marking them with a true damage aura that persists from duration on your build. Enemies marked by this aura take increased damage from her 4th. If you leave the 4th ability, this aura disappears. A little side note, there is a bug surrounding her 2nd ability where it propagates status effect damage by applying procs on a target using her 2nd ability and then spreading them using an external source to add on status effects to then kill and spread to the enemies around the initial target using the strength of the external source, working like a more consistent mecha set, basically spreading the damage by proxy. So if you're 2, proc slash and you then shoot the enemy with your weapon to spread the slash damage of your weapon. The DOT needs to be part of the kill hits, but since slash takes a whole second to deal damage, you can use gas or electric along with slash, as gas and electric are instant damage over time, and if the kill procs both gas and slash, but the gas kills, you can spread both gas and slash to enemies even though the slash didn't deal its damage over time. It can be very confusing and takes a lot to replicate consistently. As the homie As Invasion, part of the same stream team, go check him out, was testing the bug on his stream live and was trying to figure out several ways to recreate the bug, and finally got something working. Moving on to the actual loadout for this video, I did test this out with and without roar. Damage is there and quite substantial for a buffed 4th ability. My main focus here is power strength and range for spread and damage buildup. It is going to be an energy hungry build, so there are ways around that. First setup is running this build without a Helminth, so you can utilize her 3rd ability, which will have an incredible uptime thanks to the synergy, but when you have downtime, you would have to headshot or melee kill just to sustain yourself, or use roar in its place. Roar will multiply your outgoing damage and damage over time from your abilities. Just know you can't cast any Helminth ability while in her 4th, so if your roar runs out, either finish the charges you have left and recast roar, or deactivate the 4th to recast roar. Both of these loadouts heavily rely on equilibrium. This mod helps convert health pickups to energy and vice versa, basically whatever takes priority, and works great on base efficiency builds that synergize with her 3rd ability. The roar loadout will have a higher KPM since it does more damage. You will get decent drops in health orbs thanks to the Panzer and energy orbs from consistent kills. And I will pair this up with Arcane Energize for even more sustainment. Or if you have a Tau Amber Shard, you can use it for the energy pickup effectiveness. But for my shards, I went with 2 Amber Shards for the casting speed, as it's more effective for all her builds, and the rest of the blue shards for energy max, as she has a horrible energy pool. This totally should have been the thing that DE buffed as well. Just saying. And of course, I'll be using her second ability passive for the status immunity. Alright, let's take a look at the build. A brief respite in the aura for the energy to shield conversion. This is used to replenish my shield so I get another instance of a max shield gate, especially when my shields break. Energy max is coming from my blue shards and endurance drift in the Exilus. You can run an enemy radar or cutting drift in the Exilus for even more consistency. Range at 250% with stretch, auger reach, and a rank 4 overextended, just to maintain the power strength. This gives my second ability a spread of 17 meters and my fourth ability aura spread of 25 meters. Power strength 149% due to the reduction coming from overextended, but I'll also have an additional 60% coming from Molt Augmented's max stack buildup and my focus school. Duration 128% to counteract the negative effects on transient fortitude, but giving me enough to maintain my buffs. Our only survivability mod is Rolling Guard, used for the iframes when we're taking AoE damage and useful when we're recloaking with the first ability. And finally, for the energy maintenance, I have Equilibrium and Arcane Energize. Equilibrium is pairing well with the synth set mods present on my Panzer Vulpaphyla, and it's aiding to spread its viral quills just so I can have consistent health orb drops. And it has other utility mods to keep it alive and running. For some additional movement based utility and killing, you can have a primary weapon modded for Amalgam Serration for the sprint speed and modded for corrosive to deal with acolytes, and the Praetos with the speed passive and modded for heavy attacks using no elements. Both the primary and melee can be effective if you encounter violence and lose access to your abilities, while also providing you with movement utility that synergizes with their first ability when cloaked. And for the focus school, use whatever you want. I personally enjoy the increase in power strength and casting speed with the Madurai focus school. Sling strength for the 40% power strength increase after 2 dashes, and power transfer when you transference in and out are just too good to pass on this build, as they synergize well with Roar and your other abilities. And what's actually tethering the enemies and stuns them in place is the Operator Arcane called Magus Lockdown, which you can get from Little Duck. I bet you there are going to be people in the comment section asking, hey, how did you tether enemies? And they never saw this part, even though it's going to be timestamped. Just saying. Alright folks, that has been it from this video. I hope you've learned something new, and if you've enjoyed this video, please feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe for more Warframe content, streams, and so much more. Do refer to the description. Thanks for watching, and as always,